The Greater Centerville Historians organized in the year 2000. The purpose of the organization is to preserve the history of the Township of Centerville, Cleveland and surrounding area. Gerald O'Neill, Charlie Bauer, Richard Wigand, and myself, Kathleen Sixel, were the founding members. In 1831, the territory south of Green Bay was sold to the U.S. government by the Native Americans who had title to the land. The consideration was the promise of a reservation in another state. The Township of Centerville was established in 1850. The township had a village called Centerville. The reason for the hamlet's original name of Centerville was, in the days of the Indians, there was a trail along Lake Michigan between Manitowoc and Sheboygan. This heavenly spot was exactly at the halfway mark, so the early white man gave it the name Centerville. In 1849, the village of Centerville was surveyed and laid out in lots and blocks. The village of Centerville was renamed Hika when the Postmaster General informed the village leaders that another Centerville was located in the state. When it became time for Centerville to be renamed, a judge in Manitowoc by the name of Albert Schmidt would take kids hiking. The judge said, "You can't call a town hiking, so why not make it Hika?" Thus, the village of Centerville became Hika. In the early years, Centerville had the vision of becoming a lake port. To encourage ships to dock there, 2 piers were built into Lake Michigan. Many German immigrants arrived by schooners, and the village began to grow. The village had a brick factory, stores, schools, a Lutheran and a Catholic church, mills, saloons, blacksmith shop, and a fire department, and a brewery. When the brewery was built, the settlement began to flourish. But when fire destroyed the brewery, the largest industry, there was no longer a need for the harbor facilities. So ended this chapter of the development of Hika. 2 miles west of Hika, another settlement known as St. Wendel began to grow. It had a Catholic church, a general store with a connected dance hall, and a post office was also located in the complex, a funeral parlor, and at one time a motel. With the clearing of the forest, tilling of the land began. This prompted the exporting of lumber and grains. The farmers of Centerville looked forward to the building of a railway since they had a serious problem transporting their products. In 1873, the Milwaukee, Lakeshore, and Western Railroad was built between the settlements of Hika and St. Wendel and was named Centerville Station. In 1880, Centerville Station was renamed Cleveland after President Grover Cleveland. Cleveland, at that point in time, owes its growth to the fact that the Township of Centerville was a rich farming community, and farmers from miles around would bring products to be shipped by rail or ship. The village of Cleveland had several grocery stores, a furniture store, a funeral parlor, several saloons, Lutheran church, hardware stores, several gas stations, newspaper, photographer studio, several car dealerships, cheese factory, several feed mills, livestock yard, and lumber yards. The biggest business was the Cleveland Co-op, which offered many types of services. With the failing of grain crops, the farmers began dairy farming. With the abundance of milk, another industry began, cheese and butter making. Local cheese factories dotted the countryside. One-room schools were usually built near the cheese factories, so children would have a ride to school when farmers brought their milk. In 1958, Hika, St. Wendel, and Cleveland incorporated into the village of Cleveland. In 1968, the Cleveland Elementary School was built. The Township of Centerville has seen many farming changes, but dairy farming is still the primary vocation. Today, Cleveland is known as the seat of Lakeshore Technical College, which offers an educational alternative to 4-year colleges. An ancient proverb states, When an old person dies, a library burns to the ground. These words were the inspiration for organizing the Greater Centerville Historians. We hope to preserve as many memories as possible.
You better tell them what you did. They didn't hear it over here.
Got Kathy Sixel here, and she'll lead us into our evening's meeting. And go right ahead, please.
I'm Kathy Sixel, and I live at 9716 CTHX. And I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And I sent out the card. It's January 12th, by the way, and it's wonderful outside. It's maybe a little bit above zero, maybe 20.
20, yes.
20 above zero about. And I sent out the card, and this was my grandmother's Christmas tree. And according to the Sheboygan County Museum, according to the ornaments that are on there, it must have been about just right after the 1900s.
Okay.
I should have brought the other picture along, you know, the original picture. And this evening we're going to talk about memories, and we also are going to show a video which Dorothy Anderson has been so kind to share with us. So thank you, Dorothy.
Very good.
Okay, and this year we're going to share our New Year's resolutions. And I did make one.
You did one. Good.
Yes, I made one, and my resolution is not to pine for things I cannot have.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
You're welcome.
And if you'd like to introduce yourself and a resolution too, please.
Charlie Bauer from Section 30, Town of Newton.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I didn't make any resolutions because I never do anything wrong. Except for this.
Except for that. And who do you have here, please?
Dorothy Anderson from Cleveland, and I didn't make any resolutions.
You didn't make any resolutions.
No.
If you did, would you have something to say to us at this time?
If I had some.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy. And who do you have here, please?
Yeah, right.
Edith Litzy. And I just am determined that I am going to do better by visiting people that are in nursing homes.
Okay,
in
very
this
good.
year.
That's a good thought. Very good thought. Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Marie Pipper, and I agree with Kathy. I didn't make any, but I think I'll try not to look for things that I can't find and drink more beer.
Bring more beer. Good for you, Marie. Good for you. Here, please.
Melvin Yeast, and I didn't make any resolution because I wouldn't keep them in home.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Kathy Wagner,
Hi, Kathy.
and I didn't make any resolutions either.
No resolutions at all. Okay. Going to start out the year in neutral, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And who do you have here, please?
I'm Florence Chris, and I try to do better every day to
Oh.
make resolutions, do something
Okay.
better or something good for people.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. And who do you hear, please?
Walter Chris, and I didn't make any resolutions.
No resolutions, huh? Thank you. And who do you hear, please?
I'm Fred Jacoby from Manitowoc, and I really didn't even think of making resolutions, but while we're going around here,
Yes.
it occurred to me the one I should make
Yes.
is do something that my daughter has been after me for years, is record some of the family stories.
Ah, good idea. Very good. That's a good thought. Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Dave Cole from the village here, and I have no resolution.
No resolutions. Well, my name is Jerry O'Neill, the videographer, and this sort of a saying that I like very much comes from the movie Top Gun to some degree. And the resolution I made is, don't let your mind write checks your body can't cash.
Oh, man. That's a good one. I'll remember that, huh?
So therefore, I guess Kathy, you said we have something to look at as a videotape?
Yes.
Okay, we can put it on the machine and we'll let her go.
Your uncle, Dorothy.
Oh, Julius Mill,
And where was this rock garden
Across
located?
across the street from where I live, only closer to the, well.
It would have been on Lincoln Avenue.
Yeah, right,
And it would have been on the south side.
right.
And there, what was there with the rock garden, like Strutlands or?
No, the Strawmans would be about 300-400 feet to the east.
But it was located with a house, by a house, behind a house.
Yeah, behind the big mill house.
And that house was a tavern at one time and a hotel.
Part of it, not, yeah, that was the hotel. And then attached to it was a tavern.
And it was a
bowling alley.
big brick house, correct?
Yeah,
And
still there.
we viewed it, and those people that lived there told us about the rock garden, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else remember this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah?
I went there many times. My dad belonged to the telephone company. They always had their picnics there. So
Oh.
I got there real often.
I think this is building the mill dam.
Okay. And this is at Hika, right?
Yeah, there's Hintz's behind there, Walter, Hintz's garage. There's the mill, and then the mill dam being
Oh,
built.
yeah.
Oh, that's being built there.
Okay.
Anytime anybody has anything to add, please speak up.
And then way to the left there was the old firehouse. That's Franklin behind those men going up the street.
What year would that have been?
1927.
Okay.
26, 27.
Okay.
Who are some of these people? Do you know, Dorothy?
No.
No. Wally?
August Annard was the contractor.
August Einert?
Yeah,
Okay. Where was he from?
right on the left there, that's Keel.
Okay. This is the movie.
August Annard,
He got silos too.
silo builder.
Well, this was an insert that when my uncle got the movie, that was on it.
Okay.
Where is it?
This is
This is the old.
not real. It's
Too farther away.
How do you ever do that?
Oh, that's me.
That's
my
you?
Sister.
That's you.
Yeah, and my sister. Winifred, there,
Are
the
you
two
the
of
one?
us.
Are you the one that ran away?
No, she was the one. And that's Rudy Hens. That's down at the lake. And there's in front of Stratman's a store.
Okay.
This is in the cemetery. That's my cousin and her son. And then Marion is on. That's the back of my house now, the little shed. And my mother and my sister.
Okay.
And that's the front of my house now. And my father playing ball there.
What street is that,
This
please?
is Lincoln.
Lincoln?
Yeah,
Who's the littlest one there?
I don't know. That's me trying to. There's the dam. You can see the
Oh, yeah.
empty pond.
Sure.
I don't know if that dam was built then. The movie started in 27. The dam was built later, it seems to me.
35,
Yeah.
First name was 35.
Yeah, when that time that went out in 35.
My mother's uncle,
Okay.
my father,
That's your father.
Uncle Rudolph.
Okay.
That wasn't the damn built very well, otherwise they would have lasted longer than that.
So they took it down. It was very strong. When they took it down, they found it was stronger than they figured. That's me.
Boy, you're a live wire.
Oh. And that, you see, that was the, attached to the big brick home was the tavern, and then this was the bowling alley right there. There, that you see. My uncle always said, be active, you know. Otherwise people stood still and
That's right.
like a still picture. There's the lake. It
Uh-huh.
looks the same now when I go down there. There's the big brick home.
Okay.
And that was a Chevrolet, I think. Wasn't it, Walter?
Karski's,
Yeah.
Chevrolet. What?
This is in front of the brick home. See, they used to have, that's for where they tied the horses when they
Oh, yeah.
bring them. My mom and Marion, and that's Fred Mill. No, Fred, no. Shoot. In Cleveland, that's a, can't think of his name.
Who's
I
that?
think Fred Mill's father, I think. There's Hika, then there's this Sux's store.
Okay.
And then the house, that Wright house is still there.
Sure.
Wonderful shot. I mean, that's really nice.
But the trees are gone, right?
Look at all those trees. Trees are all gone.
Then there you see, that's garage, and then the tavern, and the big brick home,
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
and then what was Stratman's. And you get down to the Lake Road. That's Marion, my sister. And Winifred and Marion in the sandbox at the corner of the house.
And again, that was about 1927, you think?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay.
See, Marion was born in 24. Yeah, 3 or 4 years old, uh-huh. And that's in to the east of the big brick home. The man way on the left, John Groupie's the one who started AAL.
Really?
He was the one around farmers and sold the insurance,
Okay.
John Groupie.
And he also had policy number 1, you
Right,
told us?
yeah, he had policy number 1. And that's his wife next to him, that's my father's sister. There he is on the left, on the right. John Groupie.
Yeah, it looks like Truman.
Yeah.
Now there's
Whoa.
Vernon. Now Vernon is sitting there with a hat cap on,
Okay.
next to my dad and Marion.
Vernon
Chris.
Cress.
And who's fighting?
With Marion and me.
Holy cow.
Well, he said once in a while, fall down now, fall down. Otherwise, we wouldn't have.
Were you speaking English or German?
But we wanted to, that's it for Vernon. Where's Richard?
I'm here.
Yeah. But he thought that'd be something nice to take out of there, and that's in the back of my, there's a doctor coming.
Look at that old bike.
No, not at Vernon.
No?
No. You had a big memory, didn't you?
Who's the doctor?
Winifred is the doctor coming to nurse the baby. My uncle always tried to think of things to do. when
He,
wanted to take a
he
picture.
was pretty darn good, you know. He really did all right.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people jump from one picture to another when they take them, but
Yeah, no.
they have to be more steady.
He was very good.
Must be the doctor.
Dorothy, what happened to your movie career?
My what?
Your movie career.
Oh.
You got into the wrong thing.
See, now there's going down Lincoln, my house there.
All
It's
right,
pretty much like it does now, except it's concrete, or that.
And the trees.
boy, a lot of trees, huh?
Alfred Dossler. And there's that barn that burnt down later on.
And Alfred Dossler had what?
Is that him?
I'm in a shop.
The shop, the blacksmith shop.
Yes, right.
Started
Yeah, then
in
Would you-
1893.
And
There's
today
Mary-
it is a garage.
There's Marion and Wynn.
Yeah, it's summer
My uncle always wanted something with activity. There she got the ice cream afterwards. How good is it? Is it good? Real good. There's Wynn. His uncle threw some worms on her lap. Marion and me. And my dad and John Groupie. Uncle Julius.
Down by the lake now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the pier on there?
The pier would be a little further on south. And this is the creek.
Is there that's the dam behind it then?
Yes, and you can see the old mill, the big old mill.
Oh, yeah, just, yeah, about 1 o'clock.
Sure.
That's the train up here. You know, Hanky, is that his name?
Richard.
Richard
Oh, yeah.
Hanky?
He had that.
I told him I had that, and then he borrowed the tape so he could get this
Is this
train
coming
on.
now from the south or the north?
This is coming from the north. Right where the cemetery is again. And that's the Fisher Creek.
Pollution.
And Laura, Uncle Rudolph,
It's not too late. There are no trees in the back.
and the old Chevrolet. That's my cousin.
Whoa, she's pretty good.
Yeah. Walter, Caroline? Yeah.
That's the Roaring Twenties type of dancing.
Where's that dance?
Charleston.
In my backyard, in the back door.
There she is.
She has red hair. Maybe you can see the freckles.
Yeah.
No, this is one they thought up. I was supposed to put the salt on the fish, the bird's tail, and then catch the bird, but you see, I showed the whole bird.
Who's this?
And this is Aunt Laura, my mother's sister.
Aunt Laura, what's her last name?
She married my uncle Julius later on. She was a middle. There's the old dam,
So you walked to
the
the
old
top of
bridge.
it.
The old bridge that went across, but a while before the dam was built. This must have been the 4th of July or something like that, where a lot of people gathered.
The flag is up.
Yeah. Oh, Gunnerlich, I don't know, remember Gunnerlich?
Peppers.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there they are, yeah.
This is around the the southwest corner of my house. Coming around. I always thought of things that he could have motion on
Yeah.
the pictures.
He did a fine job.
I like their hats, how pretty.
Well, she always was a flapper. My mother's cousin. Then we
Boy,
went around the house and went through again.
But all the hats, that's amazing.
When they made the video from the movie, they cut the heads off a bit. The movie had that a little better. My mom's cousin.
I gotta.
What was her name?
Oh, Leona. My grandpa, Gartsky.
Doesn't he look
He
like
ran the
Groucho
brewery in
Marx?
Cleveland. What?
Looks like Groucho Marx.
Who's that? Oh, that's my mother's cousin. Here's Marion. That's Stratman's winter garden
No kidding.
in the back there,
What's the roof made of?
down at the lake.
Shingles. Shingles.
See, it was always cold at the lake.
Yeah.
That's at your house there, Walter. I think. Yeah, at the road, there was so much snow, we tunneled from the sidewalk to the, that's over in my uncle's yard.
What year?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if it's 29, 30 in there somewhere. Must have been a lot of snow.
Yeah.
See, that looks like the street wasn't think Dorothy Boguschutz is in there too.
Ooh, a dog fight.
Now that is my cousin's little boy. This is now at the lake. You might even find Dr. Reinert or Taples in there. Well, no, I don't know. But this might have been maybe it's my uncle's business picnic. One time we had some of them Cleveland people in. I think this is a Milwaukee group. That's Carol.
That was you again, right?
Well, I think that's Caroline. Pretty good.
Wow.
The redhead.
She is
Or
agile.
maybe some, no, it was a, I don't know, those are some people from somebody else. This is part of that picnic, I think, from my uncle. I think when I showed these, Richard, I kind of went fast forward on some of this stuff.
Who are the two girls?
This is,
No, the ones before.
I don't know, they're from my uncle's picnic.
What
Did
in
I
the
do
world?
that? That's also in Milwaukee somewhere, wherever this picnic was.
Oh, that was not in Hika then?
No,
Okay.
but when I showed them at the VFW, then I went fast forward on some of this stuff.
Should we also go fast forward?
Pardon?
Should we go fast forward? No?
I don't know, I had that all numbered, I don't know.
Should
See,
I
the
turn
men
the
wore,
light up?
when men wore complete suits.
Yeah,
Swimsuits.
that's right. Look at that.
Probably made of wool.
A lot of them were
They
made
weighed
of wool.
a ton when they got wet.
A lot of them were made of wool.
Huh.
Then the moss ate them.
Yeah, that too.
Now this. Well, that's. Now there, yeah, there's Vernon again, Richard. Vernon and Walter.
Where? In the back.
The one that she just lifted up, that was Vernon. There's Vernon. It's Marion. And that's Louis Stropman. And Marion, Winifred, I think. And she had a mask on, she was chewing gum and it got mixed up with her. And there's, oh yeah, Richard, you're right, there's Vernon again. And Walter, they're sitting in the back there, and that's my cousin, the redhead, and me dancing.
That's the first time I seen you in pants on. All the rest of the shows, all the kids had dresses on.
Did they have music that you were dancing to? Or just
No, I don't
make-believe?
think so. Marion. That was our dog Dixie. Remember him, Walter?
Where? Who's the guy?
It's me.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah. That's in the backyard, right across the further little back there. That's what we used to call the brewery land. It's back. That was swampy, and so when they built the rock garden, it was not that bad to, you know, always the water stayed. That's Marion. No, it was my bad. She doesn't like that one. I mean, she says, no wonder I'm like I am. You always made me cry.
Well, she doesn't like it when you show those pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, he was nice and slim, wasn't he? Dog was underneath.
Oh, no.
Get that.
Oh, you can jump over too.
That's really pretty good of a dog.
You don't see hammocks anymore, do we?
Yeah, no, you don't, do you?
We've had one for a number of years.
Richard and Sarah had one.
They did? That's right, they sit next to where you parked the car. Now, this is the old pier down at the lake.
That's the pier.
And there you might find Bill Taple, I think, and that's Margaret Taple
Which one?
with the umbrella.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah. And you rarely see sun umbrellas anymore either, right?
There's a nice shot of the pier in the back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boy, it was big, wasn't it?
There's,
You don't see swimming caps at all anymore, do you?
there's Dr. Williams in the dark suit there.
Yeah, right.
Now, this was when they tore the dance hall down. Next to the brick home. And this is watching it going down across the street.
What year was the bench? I never even knew that.
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I got that on this paper here, but I can. Well,
We had our wedding dance.
When did you tear it down, Barry, 27, 28?
a little later than that, I think.
Well, yeah, Dorothy, we got married in '49 and we had our wedding dance there at Stratman's.
You know, she's
Oh,
talking
this,
about-
oh,
Oh, she's talking about Mills.
yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't Stratman's.
I thought that was, you know, Stratman.
There's their house, Walter.
Yeah.
These are friends of his, my uncles from Florida. My cousin and her little boy, he's about 80, 75. There's Florida people. And there's a little bit of that pier.
How come it was so high that pier? The water get that high?
The boats could go
start on-
underneath then, isn't that why?
But you gotta start high enough from the land, see.
The bank was that high.
Oh, the bank was that
Oh,
high.
okay. Wow.
And then those are the cribs where the stones are in. And if you fish near them, you'd get fish.
What did the stones do?
I suppose it gives the pier
A
stability.
little more anchor, huh?
Was Was that pier in any way functional at this time?
At this
Not
time,
this time, no.
no. But way back,
Yeah. But, I mean, it wasn't being used, but nobody tore it down.
yeah,
No, I tore it self down.
yeah, I tore itself down. Then they kept a little piece out in the lake, and then we take the boat and go out there and anchor the boat and fish. See, there wasn't much shore then either. Well, this is in the backyard. My father's cousin and his two daughters, they're twins. It's the same place where Vernon was when they were boxing. And Uncle Julius, and,
Is everybody speaking English then?
yeah. We spoke English.
You spoke English?
Yeah. This was, I think this is something to do with my uncle. There's the yard again. Now in the side yard, they also put a turning pole, just for us to turn. So,
Oh my goodness, if you'd have that for kids today.
and here's the creek again.
Dangerous, they'd say, take it down, right? Did you fish on the mill pond, Dorothy?
Yes. When it was up, there were carp in there.
Oh.
And I bet that everybody didn't have a life jacket on if they're both either.
Nobody. And you can see above, that car went past, that's the road, the Lakeshore Road, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the church?
And then the
up there?
Catholic church in the court, in the top.
What Catholic church was that?
St. George?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a nice picture.
That's a nice picture right there.
Yeah.
If you could just get that picture, yeah, that's a nice one. Well, how deep was that water? You could have drowned in there, couldn't you?
Oh, I suppose, you can drown in a foot.
You know, when you think of it, all those kids and.
Right, with kids like that?
And no life jackets.
Yeah.
He took us out there.
Just look at how they hang over it.
Did they
Yeah.
know how to swim?
Did anybody know how to swim?
I don't know. Oh, there's another picture of the pier.
Tangerines come from.
And the boys with the long suits on. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
Where was that pier?
you would think like Washington Street, straight out.
Straight out.
Okay.
That was the big pier,
Yeah.
and there was a smaller pier that,
Was there one to the south too?
There was a smaller one, I think, but I don't remember that. Do you, Walter?
No.
or was there one where the boat landing is? No? Was there a pier there?
Where, Winches is.
Somebody
Oh,
put
way
a
down there.
diving board. Did you see that diving board? Somebody put one out there at that crib. My uncle going fishing or came in or whatever. I guess we're going. He built that boat. He built several boats. Now there's further
Yeah, there's nothing on there.
on the top of the piers. Oh wait, where is that taken from over there?
That's the other pier?
No.
Either that or this is a few years later and the top's
Two
gone.
houses up.
Yeah, but it's built different.
Built different, yeah.
Oh, that's be that other one further south.
Okay, yeah, okay.
That's where the fish are on those piles, but
Okay, that's right.
If I'm not mistaken, I was in that boat too once.
oh, several times up at your water.
Down in the lake fishing perch.
What wood is that pier made of?
I don't know. What did they?
Pretty good, whatever it was.
I mean, like tamarack or something, or?
See, then the creek, then they had to pull it up over the sand to get back into the creek. But probably have to do the same thing now. Remember when people used to walk down the street with that big, and that's in the, oh, this is, a different creek. This is, I think he's getting minnows out of the lake. Well, I don't know, he's jumping around. This might be Fisher Creek.
Is this still legal, Eddie?
To use nets like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
For suckers?
Suckers maybe, and schmells, huh?
I think he was trying to get minnows for fishing.
Yeah, you can still use minnow nets too, if you can.
Yeah,
Minnows,
minnows.
yeah.
Then they could go out fishing for perch.
Those are big minnows, aren't they?
Well, the hand, well, if you look at the hand though, yeah, it looks big that way.
There's the old Chevy.
Yeah, again. That's where I learned to drive a car with that Marion. Oh, that's at the icebergs down at the lake. And I don't think our mother knew that we were doing this.
Who was taking the video?
Uncle Julius, he knew it. Anyway, that's a movies. This is a video made for movies.
Was it the three of you again? Or who's that?
Now, see, if you look in the background, that's an old firehouse, and then the empty mill dam. I still have that chalkboard.
Which one is you, Dorothy?
Yeah.
The very left.
Okay.
And what year? Mother's house. Early 30s?
Well, in 35 they built the dam, I think, did they, Walter?
Yeah.
So it'd be before that. And that fence right behind there, that is on my land there, that was put in when I was about 3 years of age. And there's my dad and mom and Gwen. And when the men were putting in that fence, they had to put those holes in for putting in the posts, and they dropped something in. They called me over with my little hand. I could reach in there and get it out for them. This is the big brick home. Oh, look at these again.
And not even slacks on there.
Yeah, right. We didn't wear slacks then yet, did we? That's Dorothy Bowshoot's.
I bet you had long brown stockings on or long white
Yeah, or
ones
right
on.
long brown or right white, uh-huh.
Looked as if it was white and
My dad, mom,
And I bet they were wool too, those stockings.
and then the garters to keep them up, huh?
Right.
See, that's where the creek goes into the lake. There's a nice piece of ice there. Oh, I still have that doll. I hardly ever, that one to the left, my doll. should I do with that now? I still have it.
Keep it.
See, there you can see the pier away out there. It has broken away on top, and then there it is. Way, way, way back, late 1800s, horses and teams would go out there and meet the boats and bring stuff to the boats.
Oh, thrashing.
We're not quite a ways. Threshing.
Well, this is South Dakota threshing for the combine.
What took you to South Dakota?
Pardon?
Why in South Dakota? Who was there?
Oh, my father's cousin lived there.
What part?
Aberdeen, near Aberdeen. And,
Not a tree in sight.
yeah, right. And, so my uncle was there. Well, I went out there with a train and look at the threshing in the back. And that Eunice on this end, yeah, was that Eunice? No, that wasn't her. It's her sister. That bigger one there. She became a nun and, she just recently died.
Riding bareback, huh?
Yeah. Not me though. There's a combine.
Oh, wow, that's a story. Wow.
Oh. Huh.
Oh, yeah.
It was big.
What's the name on that combine?
Can't read that.
It wasn't that straight, was it? Nice looking horse. I don't know where we got it. It's me. And then I learned to ride a bicycle there too. I was 11 when my uncles took me out there.
So that's what you're,
18.
there you go. 1930 what?
Let's see. It was 1929.
29.
You know, Dorothy, my mother grew up about 100 miles south of Aberdeen.
Oh,
Now the dresses are shorter also.
there I am. Maxine, the one that became a nun. The brother. Father.
Are those all hollyhocks in the back?
Yeah, it looks
Oh,
like it.
pretty, huh?
That's the rock garden.
Go back to the rock garden. Now see, this was put together from the various films. That's like where we came in.
So they're not necessarily in order. They're just different. Yeah.
So they were building this dam in 1935 then, huh?
Yeah.
The crane, was that a Manitowoc crane?
Who'd you say that is, Walter?
August Aynard,
Oh.
Keel.
Oh, okay. I talked to one of his sons.
Didn't he make silos?
For my
See
son
down
worked-
there, they're building it, and then that behind is the big
The
mill.
two mills, yeah.
And the black mill.
That's the one I worked in,
The mill?
the black one, yeah.
Oh, it did. And,
I
See that
Wally
dam?
worked in every establishment in Hika.
At Stratman's, and we had a parade to raise money and bring people to the picnic.
So obviously Einert did other things besides Silent.
Right.
No, this is the thing, this is just repeated.
What, yeah, there's somewhere.
The car doors opened, you know, from the center, do you remember that?
Overnight Express.
And here's this band, I think.
So,
Oh, no.
Someone's trucking.
Oh, his truck, but the Centerville band,
Oh, that's the
Centerville
Centerville
band.
band, huh?
I think.
Yeah, it said that on the sign.
Boy, they walk fast, huh?
That's probably me, one of the places.
Uh-huh.
And me would be Walter Kress, right?
Yes, Wally Crest.
And this would be 35.
I think the 4-H, I mean, yeah, 4-H had a float too.
Moving odds would be in there too.
Wow. Badger,
Badger band.
from where?
Was that did it say Midland on that truck?
Something clear.
Yeah, I don't see anybody with a cell phone.
You're on a second story here taking photos.
Yeah, from that porch up at the brick home. My uncle was up there.
And what street is this
Oh, that
on?
was the 4-H, I think.
Lincoln?
This is
Lincoln?
Yeah, Lincoln.
Okay.
There's Walter's house a little bit.
This was still more important than Cleveland itself, than the,
Hika?
yeah.
Well, in the beginning, Hika was.
No, I mean, even in the 30s.
Well, there was
Would
no.
they have had the parade up? you know,
Oh!
But the project was here, see?
They had
Yeah,
the
the
project.
Just because the project was here.
And picnic was gonna be at Stratman's.
Yeah, Stratman's, in order to get the people to Stratman's, that's why we had, you know, all those things to get the people into town. Now it's over.
Okay.
And the next day, the cleanup people had a parade.
Here's the big one. That Rudy Hicks, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Shirley,
The hot-
Shirley with the hat.
Yeah, my dad and Norma. My dad and my mom. Mrs. Pagel. Norma. Funny, you can find that many. You can't find that many people there now. There's Walter's house.
They were turning. Looked like it, yeah. It was just like-
You know, that old village.
Why would they say welcome home?
Well, for that picnic, they
It's like a homecoming.
sent cards to a lot of people that used to live out there.
Oh, okay.
Raymond Hintz with the
Old wash tub for a drum, huh?
oh, these are some mushrooms.
Oh,
Huh?
my goodness.
My goodness.
Puffballs, huh?
And this looks like it's in the rock garden. There's Stratman's dance hall. And that garage is still there, and the trees are growing up.
Dad built that grill.
Yeah, I guess so. And then there's the rock garden.
Wow.
And it was just to get the tourists to come down there to Rock Garden?
Well, my uncle was retired from the railroad, and Uncle Rudolph, and the two of them decided to do that, I guess. Build a rock garden. No, that wasn't necessary. That's for their own enjoyment.
the stone then.
They did put a goldfish in the water though.
Well, you keep that stone.
That was quite a project to build.
Oh, yeah. And that big stone looked like,
That's the one that threw my grandma.
pardon?
My grandma hit that with a plow.
Oh, came from your farm, from the
Came
farm.
from the farm. Yeah. Yeah, it looked like Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Where was the farm, Walter?
Where Yankunis lives now.
Okay.
Now this is trying to get that,
Bird.
is that a bird?
It's a worm and a fishing.
No, a frog.
A frog. That's a frog sitting here.
He swallowed the hook? No,
I don't
I don't
know.
think so.
Move. Come on, move.
He's so fat, I can't move.
Well, he's got the worm or something.
Oh, nice.
A nature film.
Yeah.
Yeah, to imagine that frog would be so tame,
Yeah.
to just eat right out of your hand.
That is Johnny Tuesday, I think. Unless it's back to rental. We don't have the curls. Anyway. There's rental. That's rental and job. And butterflies.
That's a lot of butterflies, you know, you don't see that many together.
But maybe it was in the rock art,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of other things. Right.
Now, I think that's on the dam after the dam was built. Because it's much, sure, much more water, yeah.
The reason for building the dam
For beautifying it, having that water and
wasn't running anything. I mean, there wasn't any power there.
no, not then anymore. Way back it was built for power, before it went out in 1927, I think. What's-
Who arrived just a little bit later, but he'd like to introduce himself and give us his resolution for the year 2004.
Yeah, my name is Richard Wigand. Sorry I arrived a little late, but I made a resolution the last couple of years to get real serious about my writing, and that's my resolution again this year. So,
Okay.
I never got to it. I mean, I collect materials, but I haven't written much. So,
Okay. And what is the writing going to be
well,
about?
the writing is some of it's personal, but some of it's about the history of Centerville, and
Okay.
I have this idea to make a fictional novel about the settlement of Centerville and sell it to the screenwriters or something.
Okay.
Is it fictional?
Yeah, fictional novel. I mean, based on true events, but just mix things in. And my wish also would be, if this ever occurred and we'd have a film, that a lot of the local people here would be somewhere in the movie, you know, just small
Yeah.
parts or something.
Okay. Very
Well, you
good.
better hurry up, Richard.
I better. I know we're dropping like flies.
Something unique to say, and he'd like to say a couple of words on that matter. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, Richard Wigand, in honor of Vernon Kress, who recently departed, was I think a 2-year member of the group here. We've been going about 3 years. I think he started coming regularly the second year. And I'm sorry that he's gone, of course. We could have gotten a lot more out of him, but I'm glad we had 2 years of input. You know, I know that he was in World War II, and he had stories about that. I've got memories, actually, of Vernon when he was still at the garage. We used to get our oil changed there. My dad would take his car there, and Vernon Kress and his partner Chizek, I don't remember his first name, were running that garage, which used to be Umstead's garage, which used to be Erdman's garage, or Erdman and somebody. Thiemann, yeah.
Okay.
And I remember that very well, being there. In fact, I can still see it today at, was it Curly Ulrich? Was the oldest one, or the oldest? Used to work there. And my dad and him were standing out in the front talking about something, and I don't know how tall I was, but I was waiting for them to get done, you know, talking about their nonsense. And I just remember seeing those two guys. I wish I had a photograph of that there. And of course, Vernon used to drive my parents up to Abrams to go to church once in a while for Alan Klesick, who was a member of our church, and he's my cousin. Actually, he's a minister up in Abrams, and so the Cresses and my parents would drive some Sundays and drive to Abrams north of Green Bay.
Okay.
And I went along once on one of those.
Okay, very good.
I did too.
You did too?
Rita Hoon,
Okay,
Yes.
lots
Okay.
of times.
very good.
Maybe if other people got memories of Vernon, you want to say
That'd be very
good
nice.
time to say them.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gentleman here would like to identify himself.
I'm Fred Jacoby. Well, I've got lots of memories of Vernon because of being at the garage, and we bought a couple new cars while he was there, and remember that, and he was always there fixing, you know, and I stopped there a lot. I had to see what was happening in the car business of the village. See?
What brand of cars did they
Fords.
sell? Fords. Okay. And what years was that? Do you remember?
Well, we got a new one. In fact, January 8th, 1946, we got the second new car that Amstel delivered after the war.
Okay.
And then we got a new one again in 1950. And then Curly Ulrich bought our 46. By the way, I don't know if anyone else remembers, some of you probably do that, Vernon's wife and Curly's wife were sisters.
Oh.
Vosses from Millholm.
Okay.
And so, you know, then once in a while our tractor wouldn't work right, and Vernon come out to the farm.
Okay.
And sometimes it was after hours, and sometimes after hours I had a dead battery at a bar, and he gave me a push.
He was always there for
Oh,
you.
yeah, he really was. And then I speak for Richard Hankey, you know, with his railroad project in Cleveland. This summer, we took a 3.5-hour walk from what is now Washington Street, the main road, right? All the way to the canning factory and back. Never sat down. He's 83 years old, kept on talking the whole while, telling stories. And then one night we had a couple-hour talk with him at his house, Richard and I, at Vernon's house. And absolutely amazing what he remembered. Richard couldn't believe it. He was talking about the classes of locomotives, and I never really was aware of that. There's B and G and stuff like that, different classes of locomotives for different purposes. And then he said, yeah, that one was a certain number. And then Richard expressed some surprise, and so then he says, would you like to have all the numbers? And he knew the various classes that would come through here, plus all the individual locomotive numbers of each of those classes. Richard has been in the railroad business and hobby a long time. He never saw anybody like that.
You mean Vernon did that?
Wow.
Named off the numbers. Now, my concern is, let's see, Richard's father was dying at the same time. Maybe some of you might have seen it if you get a Manitowoc paper, but maybe you don't here. His father died just a couple days after Vernon did. And he had moved up from Chicago to Manitowoc a few years ago already. And so I tried to get a hold of him, but all I was able to do was leave messages. But what I'm not sure is if I think that Richard had a recorder on Vernon's kitchen table. when he's telling this story because it's priceless. It's just incredible. But he was just a gold mine for Richard, and of course, I was enjoying getting to know Vernon these last 2 years about again, and I stopped a couple times.
Sure.
In it, so I wish he was still around, but that's the way it goes, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank.
I'm Walter Kress, and you're talking about Vernon Kress, who was my cousin.
Okay.
And you ask about hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
He used to have a big garden, and he'd come over to the center and bring vegetables over, so everybody started calling him the Veggie Man.
No kidding.
So
Boy, he must have had
that's the way he'll be remembered.
that'll be his memory there, huh?
Right.
And I think he had lots of flowers too, right?
He had flowers, and he had a cottage up north where he did a lot of fishing.
Raspberries.
Okay.
It was
Raspberries,
a big garden.
strawberries,
Really?
Garden with flowers.
Okay.
pears.
Unbelievable. Very good. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Right ahead.
And the day before he passed away, that's something he'll never forget. He called him, and they talked for over an hour on the phone.
Oh, my
And then the
goodness.
last words he said was, "I don't feel too good."
Ah, for heaven's sakes. Very good. Thank you.
I'm Marie Pipper. I remember one time he showed me where the guy from the Haven, where he shot through the building, what was his name? Gotze. Remember that? He was a soldier down at Camp Haven, and he
Okay.
was drunk, and he shot right through the whole garage. Don't you remember
No,
that?
I don't remember
Yeah.
this.
Oh, sure.
What garage
showed
did
me
he
that.
shoot through?
But he always gave me a good ribbing, and his kid was just as bad as he was. A couple, I would say maybe 10, 15 years ago, in those days we only had a constable, and you could drive up to Stoneberg's store on the left side. You didn't have to park on the right side. You could come right up there.
Uh-huh.
And I left the keys in the car. Here I got out, my car was gone. And I looked on for here, it was almost up to the lumber yard. It was Butchie Crest, Vernon's kid that did that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I couldn't find my car.
It's gone.
That's
Okay.
a long time ago, too.
Very good. Thank you.
And I deliver food to the homebound on Tuesdays.
Yes.
And usually Wally goes with me, and he drives my car, and I run into
Oh,
the houses with the food.
okay.
But one day Wally wasn't there, and so I was going to go out by myself.
Yeah.
And then Bernie was sitting in the senior site, or the nutrition site, and he said, "I'm going with you, but you're driving." "I'm not driving, I'll be doing the running." So I drove, and he ran in and out of the houses.
Oh. And where do you deliver, in what area here?
Well, between here and Newton,
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. And how many people do you take care of?
like about 7. Is it 7? Right now it's about,
Okay.
at one time we had 10, or 10
Wow.
or 11.
Okay.
But right now we have 7.
And this is volunteer?
That's right,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you.
The nutrition site delivers food on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay.
And now in winter, Buddy and his wife are doing my route.
Oh, really?
So I don't have to worry about driving in snow and whatever.
Wonderful.
Catherine, where's the site located?
It's up at the Centerville Town Hall, or the County Highway Shop.
Okay.
That's where the nutrition site is located.
That's where the nutrition site is. So they make the food there?
No, they don't make the
They
food
don't
there.
make
They
it
make the food in the Central High School kitchens in Sheboygan.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And someone brings it out
Yes.
in big warm
Okay.
pans
Yeah.
and whatever.
Sure.
And
Well,
then we pack it up and we deliver.
well, I don't have a hat on, but I'd like to take my hat off to you folks. Really, that's wonderful you people do that all the way through here. That's great. Please?
I'm Florence Chris, and Wally and I have been volunteering at the center for about 18 years,
Really?
right?
Again, I'll take my hat off.
From the time he retired, we've been
Really?
working there.
Isn't that wonderful that people in the village here are that conscientious about taking care of their neighbor and their friends? And very good. Thank you.
Richard Wigand, Vernon Kress cut the grass at St. George, St. Johannes, right? I don't know how many years, but
At what area of the, was it
in
cemetery?
Hika, the cemetery
Oh, this-
in
okay.
Hika, he cut the grass there. 10 years? About 10 years. And anyway, the Wigands cut the grass at Saxon Cemetery.
Okay.
And usually when he got done cutting the grass there, then he got in his car and he came around on Union Road, I guess maybe just to make sure that we had cut it, and it became a little bit of a competition as to who was more fussy or who was more. And once in a while, you know, the family would be working on Saxon Cemetery. I had a little to do with it, but not a lot,
Yeah.
because I wasn't around that much. But he'd stop in and then he'd talk for a while, you know.
Okay.
Um,
Wonderful guy. Just
Yep.
a great guy. Thank you.
Well, I'm Fred Jacoby. He cut the grass there, but he was an officer there. You know, there are 3 or 4 guys that keep track of things for these cemeteries, and he was one of those officers for many years. And my father-in-law, Vernon Dersh, was too.
Okay.
And so we would see him occasionally like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just recently, my father-in-law's gone for 6, 7 years, but my mother-in-law just told me when Vernon died that whenever Vernon Dersh went out and stopped to see Vernon Cress about something about cemetery, always came home with something from the garden.
No kidding.
Yeah, sure. Well, when I stopped this summer, early fall too, the same
Yeah.
thing. Gave me some potatoes and onions.
He
But
loved to
was-
share things,
But
apparently.
he had a lot. He had to get rid of it. I mean, that garden was big.
Right. Good.
So
Wow.
he liked to share it, sure.
Wonderful. Isn't that great? Thank you very much.
I'm Kathy Sixel, and I thought it was very nice of Vernon to request that we have it on Center School. Only Center, he couldn't come that night because there was construction right in front of their house, and he couldn't get out of the driveway because
Yes.
I think he would have added a lot, you know.
right.
I really didn't know Vernon. He went to the same church that I went to, St. John, St. Peter, for many years. But through this history group, I got to meet him, and we got to be like friends.
Right.
He was such a nice fellow in church, and it was a person that you could feel very comfortable with. And I'm sorry, but I am glad that he had a peaceful death. He died in
Right.
front of the post office in his car,
Right.
and someone found him there. So he had a blessed death. That was nice for him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The lady here would like to identify herself, please?
Dorothy Anderson, and I lived next door to Walter Chris, who was Vernon's double cousin.
Okay.
The mothers were sisters and the fathers were brothers. And my sister Wynn would sometimes pick on Walter,
Ah,
and Vernon would be there, but Vernon was one that would fight back, so he went after her, and that was the end of her picking on him.
thank you. We just decided to try something, and that would be to talk about the old butchering days and days gone by, and if there was unique things that was done. Right ahead, please.
Okay, I'm gonna add something else
Okay.
before I start that.
Sure.
Speaking of double cousins, I have a cousin named Vicky Koenig Brown. She's a first cousin through my mother, she's a fourth cousin through the Hammonds, and she's a third cousin through the Taples, to me.
My goodness.
And maybe when I get done, she'll be a cousin a few other ways too, but I just got into this mental exercise recently and discovered that, you know, that the relationships of people can be really intertwined. And when you think about how you're related, you know, blood or marriage or some way, it gets very complicated. Okay, get that out of the way. Butchering on the farm. In my lifetime, we didn't do it.
Okay.
Otto Wigand did, my dad said, but my father never butchered on the farm that I can remember.
Okay.
If we had to butcher a cow or something, we had Brust Meat Market do it.
Okay.
And I know that August Schmidt did a pig or two for us. And of course, we'd butcher a chicken or something, you know, we'd butcher chickens on the farm. But I really never participated in any of that myself. I mean,
All right.
the butchering of chickens that I did was in Peace Corps, was in Africa, was in someplace else, you
Yeah.
know. But we never, in my memory, we never did it on the farm. I just remember they'd bring the summer sausages, you know, we'd have
Sure.
them, we'd hang them out in the smokehouse, you know. We would wrap meat, you know, and whatnot, and put it in freezers and
Sure.
that sort of thing.
Okay.
So
well,
my answer is short. We
okay.
didn't.
Didn't do it.
Not in my lifetime. I mean,
Okay.
before, yes. of course.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay. Thank you. Young lady would like to introduce herself, and she's got more information. Right ahead,
I'm
please.
Florence Kress, and we did a lot of butchering.
Okay.
And the relatives would get together,
Okay.
and then well, my one sister married a butcher, and then they would butcher the cows and the pig. They'd do that, all the pigs at one time, you know, and then for weeks we'd be putting away meat and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Did they do the scalding and everything on
Right.
the farm?
Mhm.
Now, where was this done? In
We lived in Spring Valley at
oh,
the
in
time.
Spring Valley at the
Yes.
time. Okay. And was there somebody who was heading this venture up a little bit, that somebody was sort of the foreman or straw boss?
My brother-in-law, see, he was a butcher.
Oh,
And then
okay.
my dad, he,
All right.
and then of course we always had a lot of help because all the children that were married did come home, you know, to
Okay.
help out, and they
Sure,
didn't
get a
want
little
to
piece
hand
of,
out.
yeah, yeah.
So
Now, did they
then-
have hogs and everything on tripods that they,
That I
when they
don't
gutted them?
remember just how they did that.
Okay.
No, we weren't allowed out there when they did that.
Oh, you weren't, okay, all
We were
right.
too small.
Okay.
And, but then we butchered chickens, we had a lot of chickens.
All right.
So we had a lot of chicken.
Okay, very good. And it was good tasting when you got all done,
Oh,
huh?
yes. I often wish you could get some of that chicken now that he's fresh like that.
Good.
What you get now. It isn't like you had then.
Right, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, please?
I'm Marie Pipper. I wasn't born on a farm, but I remember we butchered it. That took that 3 days, and it was William R. Taple and August Schmidt that did the butchering. And after we were done with the sausage making and everything, my mother made soap.
Okay.
And of course, to this day, I love brains and all that stuff. All the kids say, gross. And I think they're so good. Oh, but you shouldn't have them either. They're high in cholesterol. But I cheat.
Now, you mentioned something about a thing called crackles.
Oh, the crackles were when they rendered the lard.
Yep.
And we always used them and mixed it with apples on top of the stove. They ate that on bread. Oh, I would like some right now. Oh,
You're making my mouth water.
oh, that was good stuff.
Very good.
Oh, I remember eating lard on bread too.
Oh, yes, okay. That's very good. Thank you.
That was
Identify yourself and talk about some things.
Edith, let's see. And I know that at the place where I moved to in the Cleveland area that they butchered for other people even. We had a regular slaughterhouse there.
Oh,
And, but from my own home, I know that I had to help out stir the blood for my dad when he would butcher a pig so that it wouldn't curdle. and two, we butchered cows, and I know that we would go over to the neighbors and we had to saw all those big bones to pieces. We had this great big saw, but that was a big job.
you sawed the bones?
Well, to get the pieces apart, yes, we had
Oh,
we had
okay.
this great big saw. I think it's still hanging up in the old house. We brought that along. And two, we had, after I was on this other place close to Cleveland, we had hundreds of chickens and 200 ducks, and we had a chicken picker and everything. We just would dunk them into this big kettle, and
Yeah.
it was 100 chickens in a day we butchered.
Now, when you put the chickens into this kettle, that you got the feathers to come out that way?
Yes,
And-
so the feathers would come off faster, yeah. and
Okay.
better. Mhm.
Now, did you pluck the chicken, you said by automatic
Well,
something?
yeah, this thing would take most of the feathers off, then you only had to pick the little feathers in.
Sort of a rubber paddle?
With suction, like a milk machine cup suction.
Oh, really?
Cups like that, yeah.
Oh my gosh, never seen that or heard about that.
Oh, yes, a lot of people borrowed that
Okay.
chicken picker after we bought that.
They call it a chicken picker, huh?
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
What you do with all that meat?
Huh? Well, the chickens we would sell.
Oh, for selling?
Hessel bought lots of them, that eating place, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, very good, thank you, appreciate it. Yourself?
Richard Wigand. I was at an agricultural show in Germany a couple of years ago, and it was a technology show, and they had a machine that actually gathered chickens from the floor of the chicken house and boxed them up, live chickens.
Yeah.
It had a couple of things, that would turn, and they had these rubber fingers on there, and you'd run into the group of chickens in the corner, and it would pull them in, and there was a conveyor that took the chicken up, and it fell in the box, and after so many were in this crate, then they'd close it up, and then they'd put another crate on there, and these chickens were coming up the.
All live
It
chicken?
was a chicken, whatever you call it, picker or something, but it was for live chickens into a crate.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
And you were shipped somewhere.
And then they were shipped somewhere, yeah.
My goodness. Oh,
I never imagined they'd do something
do
like that.
something like that, huh?
Kathy Sixel, and talking about the blood, at my house we made schwarzsauer, but we made it out of the
Say that one more time, Kathy.
schwarzsauer. It's blood soup.
Okay.
It is made out of the blood of the pig. and it had prunes in it, and it had raisins in it, and it had noodles, and it was a sweet soup.
Okay.
The Sixels, they would butcher the geese, and they would take the blood out of the goose.
Okay.
And they made soup, but theirs was like a sweet sour soup.
Okay.
And I'll have to get that recipe from Hattie Vogel yet. But we did a different method of butchering at my home. It was like a big trough, and it was all full of water, and you scalded the pig in there when you did that. But at the Sixels, it seemed that they skinned the pig or something. There was two different methods. They didn't have the trough like we had at our house. And we have the big butcher kettle in our basement yet. And you utilized every bit of meat that there was. The only thing that was left was the bones that you threw away. And when you cooked the bones, you got little pieces of meat off of there, and that was your beef sausage rinderwurst. And the water, where you cooked that in, that was a soup. And we canned all this stock of that soup, and we added onions and carrots and celery, and you had this wonderful soup all year long.
Wow.
It was a big process, and the head of the pig would make the head cheese, and liver would make the liver sausage, and the blood, of course, made your blood sausage, and we made potato sausage. Summer sausage, liver sausage, that was out of the liver.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a process, and we always did 2 pigs and a cow. We have our
Really?
hoist in our garage yet, where we hoisted them up.
Oh,
where we
really?
hung 'em.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and bratwurst we made. You had a stuffer and you stuffed them.
Yep.
You put that in there and you stuffed it, then you turned it right, and you took the intestines of the pigs and you cleaned them.
Okay.
And Donald and Emmett always did that. That's my husband and my brother-in-law, because it's the most awful smell in your house as they're cleaning those, and that's what you used for your sausage.
Okay.
And the stomach was for schwachemaha. What is that?
Say that word again.
Schwachemaha? It's what is that? Head cheese? It's the stomach,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes, yes.
Head cheese, and so you put into this sack. No, you cook the head.
Okay.
Yeah, you cook the head and then you put it into this casing, right? Yeah, that other shape.
But the intestines were turned inside out.
Out, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you washed them and you put them in salt as you cleaned them, right?
Lard off of them.
Yeah, you took the lard off, and also we canned a lot of meat. We didn't have a freezer in those first years, and we canned it in tin cans as well as in quart jars and pint jars. And we would can like chopped meat, and it would be a meatloaf. Then you just opened it up and you pushed it out and you sliced it off and you ate it on bread. Yeah, so it was quite a process, and it was an exciting time because all of you got together and you always had lunch at 9 or 10 o'clock when you were done for the evening. It was a fun thing.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Kathy. Very
You're
good.
welcome. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, another thing we did, we butchered ducks, but we waxed. Did you wax, Edith?
Only when they were pretty stuffy.
Yeah, and you dipped them in this wax, and I still have the wax at my house.
Really?
Where we dipped the ducks in, and when we came on the farm, I think it was maybe 30 years ago, we still had ducks. We had a drake, I think, and 2 hens, and we had 71 ducks that year, and we had to butcher them, and then we sold them.
Ah.
And once in a while, then you get pin feathers real bad in ducks, and you cannot get those out.
Yeah.
You had to go with the eye tweezer, and then you waxed again and again and pull this wax off in order to get the pin feathers off.
Ah.
And Hattie Vogel, does anybody remember when she fell or something and got her arm in the wax? And she held it out of the arm as they drove, or out of the car window as they drove to Manitowoc, and the meat was like cooked on her arm. Yeah,
Oh.
doing the wax. Yeah.
Wow, that wax would be hot, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's real hot.
Wow.
And you know, wax is just dangerous otherwise
Yes,
too
it
to work
is.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Edith Lutzy, and when we butchered so many ducks too, sometimes when we got them, they were just right. They didn't have any pin feathers, but like Kathy said, when they had those pin feathers, we sometimes had to use the wax too to get them out because it was very, very hard.
Was there a certain time of the year
I
that
think when it was colder, a little longer.
Okay, then
it
they
was better.
generated the extra feathers and, okay.
But we kind of always watched when we butchered, so because that saved a lot of time.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Jacoby, Kathy's recollections are very similar to what I remember. I was starting to doubt my story that I remembered, but she remembers usually slaughtering a cow and 2 pigs, and that's what I can remember hanging in the barn early in the morning. The neighbors would get together. It was Otto Sixel, Herbert Schutte, and my family, and they worked together on lots of things. They thrashed together, and then in December, after Thanksgiving, they'd start, and every week they'd butcher at one house.
Okay.
And it was pretty much the same routine. It took all day. They'd kill these animals, like 4 o'clock in the morning, clean them, pigs in the scalding trough, and then they had these scrapers. They were round.
Round things like a cone, right?
Yeah, right. And then I'd spend a good part of the day chasing the eyeballs around on the ice with an axe and see if and they were like silly putty. You couldn't, because of the viscosity inside the eye.
You weren't playing hockey.
No, I was all by myself. But that's what I remember. And then the sausage making and putting up the meat all day long in the basement of the house till you say 9 or 10 o'clock at night till they're all cleaned up.
Yeah.
And then I remember the hams. That was before refrigeration, as Kathy said. The hams, we had a big, one of these big Red Wing crocks.
Oh, yeah.
And the hams would go in a salt brine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And see, I don't know. Did some of them get smoked then too? I can't
You had
think.
a smokehouse. You had to have, that's where you had the smokehouse.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a smokehouse, but some of the neighbors did.
Okay.
So that was a big day, an exciting day,
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had good stuff to eat.
Good. Everybody shared the meat after that was all done, I suppose.
No, see, one week you'd butcher at one house,
Okay.
and the next week you butchered at another one,
All right.
and that all happened a couple weeks before Christmas.
Sure.
And the pin feathers, I thought my understanding was that the pin feathers problem was a result of the stage of the bird,
Yeah.
not the weather, but
The stage of the
maybe
bird.
that's related.
No, I don't know. I had something. No,
You know-
I think it was the weather.
Okay.
Probably was both.
Maybe. And then Schwarzsauer was a big thing with my father too, and I will tell you, I wasn't crazy about it. But we did it with poultry blood. And I remember you'd go out with a pan, with a little vinegar in, and then somebody had to keep stirring. See, the vinegar kept it from coagulating.
Coagulating. Ah.
And they put in like the wings and the feet, right? And the legs. So there was a little meat in there.
Oh.
I can remember my father, he enjoyed that, and I didn't really understand it.
Did you read it?
I did a little. That was probably maybe what was there on the table,
Yeah, you had to eat it.
But I know I didn't enjoy it when I was a kid, at least. I didn't. But he thought, I can remember, I can still see him. He'd think that was so delicious.
Thank you very much.
So,
Let's see, and I can remember after the hams were cured and smoked,
Okay.
then we would pack them in grain to keep them because there was no refrigeration.
Right. Right. So they put them in the granary
Underneath the grain to keep them cold and preserve them.
That's
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how it worked, but.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
They sixel. And another thing we did, we made soup out of the chicken legs. Did anybody else make that? You just didn't waste anything. And another thing we did was you browned your pork chops and then you put them in a crock and you put it lard over and a dish over the top then, and that is how you kept them for the winter. And so when you wanted food, you just went to the basement and you got up these pork chops and you roasted or heated them up then.
Okay. But they were stacked between lard, is that?
In between lard, in these crocks.
Are these raw?
No, we browned them.
You browned
Yeah,
them.
and that's how they kept them because you didn't have a furnace, so your basement was cold, not like today where
Yeah.
where your basement is warm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
I'm Florence Chris.
Yes.
Kathy was talking about the pork chops. We did that with beef. We'd cut it in cubes and then
Okay.
cook it and then pack it in the lard.
Oh, really? That
Right.
too?
And then I got a story to tell. When
Good.
my parents were gone, it wasn't summer, and they had the ham in the smokehouse yet.
Yeah.
So my two brothers, my twin brother and the younger one, they decided we were going to have, they started barbecuing. So they were going to barbecue a slice of ham. And we had a stump from a tree that they put a grate on there, started a fire. We made those hams, and we were eating. They would run out. Tree was burning, or that stump was burning. My parents got home and says, "What happened here?"
Uh-oh.
But then they started barbecuing the ham. They didn't realize oh, that was good.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you, Florence.
That was fun.
Sixel. And another thing we made out of the cracklings was called punnis, stumps, and there's one other name under it. And you put oatmeal in, and the dough was sort of like making cream puff dough. And you put it in bread pans, and then we froze it after a while, and then you cut it off, and then you fried it.
Ah.
And the other, maybe 3 years ago, I thought, I'll can some bratwurst and for the kids for Christmas. Well, some of our kids didn't remember that. And some didn't let it behind, some ate it. But I have a grandson from the Ukraine, and he was absolutely thrilled with this canned bratwurst. He's at Carroll College. So then he had something to eat. And that was the kind of stuff that they had back in the Ukraine. They're still with these old methods.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, do any of you can bratwurst? We did. Yeah, that's real nice, and I'm going to can a batch for him again and can beef. Then you just have to empty the jar, and he's got beef for the day. So,
Very good. Thank
in
you.
jars. Yeah, but we did in cans too. I have the canner yet.
Did
I
you have a
the
can sealer, or how did
Yeah,
it?
there was you had big cans like this, and you had little cans like that, and you had a sealer.
Oh,
You
really?
put it in there, and then you sealed it shut. Yeah.
Really? Oh,
But
okay.
the tin cans got so expensive,
Okay.
and that's why we stopped using cans and just used jars.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can just like a normal, like if you were canning vegetables or
Well, you
something?
have to steam meat. I just have a other cooker. I don't have a pressure cooker, and I steam it 3 hours
Okay.
in a hot water bath.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one of those yet.
Okay.
So I get, the punnis was made then from pork? The pork cracklings?
From
rendering down the lard?
the cracklings, right? And then where you cook that sausage in the, not the rindewurst, but the liver sausage and blood sausage, and once in a while those sausages would bust, and there'd be little pieces of meat around in there, and that's what you made your punnis out of.
We ate that a lot because Pa said that was cheap.
I know, we did too.
When they fried it, we always put syrup or
Syrup,
sugar
Karo
on it.
syrup,
Yep,
right?
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
I'm Marie Pipper. We're talking about cracklings. Well, we always called them Griefen.
Okay.
That must be German for that.
Marie, tell them where the cracklings come from.
Oh, yeah, when they rendered the lard, they're like all little, like a pea, almost like a pea.
Yeah.
And I did get some ones from Bruss, but
Okay.
that didn't work. They pressed that too hard, it didn't work at all.
Okay.
And I often wondered, why did they always call that Schwarzsauer? Schwarz would be black sour. Why did they call that soup Schwarzsauer?
black.
It was black, it was black.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
The blood turned black.
Oh, we used to like
Oh,
those
that-
Griefen. That was
Okay,
always
that's right.
Griefen.
The blood sauce, or the, yeah,
The blood turned black,
blood turned black. Yes, it did.
and that's why it was called
And then
Schwarzsauer.
made sour, I suppose, that's why.
Sweet sour.
Okay, very good. And will introduce himself.
Richard Wigand. I was working in Ethiopia a couple of years, and I used to go to the Ras Hotel on Sundays for a noon meal. It was near the research station where I was. And there was a woman, a German volunteer named Lydia Bach, and she would come to the Ras Hotel from the village, and I would come from the other side, and we'd have lunch together. And the one day she brought somebody from the German embassy. She was a German from West Germany, and she brought somebody from the German embassy. And so we were discussing some things, and then the guy asked me, what's your name? And I told him, Richard Otto Wigand, and he says, that sounds like a good German. And I said, yeah. And I proceeded to write down on a piece of paper all of my ancestry back to Germany. There was all 16 of them. I had them all written down on a paper.
Really?
And he looked at me and he said, that's impressive, And he said, I'm going to make you an honorary German for one day. He said, this was in March or April or something. He said, in May, the Germans have a Constitution Day. I don't know what day it is. And he said, Lydia will bring you to the embassy. So on that day, it was on a Sunday or Saturday or something, she took me to the German embassy in the capital, in Addis. And I was really surprised. They had summer sausage, blood sausage, liver sausage, kochkäse, the cheese, in the
Cake,
jar,
yeah.
that stuff. All kinds of stuff that I didn't think existed anymore. I mean, I grew up eating this. We always had it at the house. And I asked them, and they said, "Yeah, this is traditional German food."
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been in Germany and never saw any of that stuff. But it was the same thing, that I grew up eating, and I just felt really at home.
Yeah.
When I was at the embassy there. This was in Africa. And they had summer sausage and liverwurst and this and blutwurst.
I'm Marie Pipper. I got these flyers and stuff from Laverne Edler, somebody that I grew up with. And this is the Red Arrow School graduates in 1980.
Okay.
And that building is still there. In fact, my daughter works there now, and I think Richard does too, come to think of it.
Okay.
And
What street is that located on, Marie? Do you know?
what is that street that goes past the Red?
Wait a minute, Beach. What's Beach Street? Beach. Yeah, Beach.
I don't know,
Beach
Beach?
Yeah.
Beach Street.
Okay.
Okay, that's still
Okay.
there.
Okay, Marie, can you show us another photo?
And this one,
Okay, can
she
you
doesn't
turn
have
it-
anything on there, but I think it's the old Reformed church on Hickory. And in
Okay.
front of this, there must be the sawmill. I just remember going in there one time in Wagner's sawmill
Okay.
when I was a kid.
And what street would be in front of that? Do you know anything on
The
that? at all?
street is Hickory now.
Oh, it is Hickory.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that
All
time,
right.
it was
Very
nothing.
good. And you have something else there, Marie?
And this, I think, was Whips Casper's TV, but it seems to me there was a harness shop in there years ago before that.
Now, Whip Casper, what was his real name? Is that a nickname?
Wilbert.
Wilbur.
Wasn't that a harness shop? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and now which was his building then?
This building here.
Right there. Okay.
And that's gone now.
Is that gone?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's on Washington, right
Washington.
on the corner by the post office or
Okay.
by the tavern.
All right.
And this must be the one that sent me. That's their store. The back end of the store must be a lot of snow.
What store is that again?
Edler's store.
Edwards.
Hotels it was, and Holden, right?
Yeah.
It had different names.
And he had a barber shop down in the basement,
Okay. And what street would that be on?
Washington.
Okay.
That's right across from the firehouse now.
All right. Okay, very good. Thank you.
And this she sent to, that's my brother,
Yes.
after he was blind. Oh, it says 1977. He's holding peppers that he grew in the garden.
Okay. And he was blind?
He
and-
was blind for 50 years when,
Really?
when he died. But, well, this was 1977.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was blind. Let me see, once. He was born in 41. Tommy was born in 42, and I must have been between 41 of fall.
Huh.
We were just married when he was blind.
And he
And look at the
still,
big peppers.
Yeah, and he still worked in the garden? And
He worked in the garden, he fixed cars, he fixed engines, the wash
Really?
machines and stuff. And he knew everybody by voice.
Wow.
Marie, what happened to your brother that he became blind?
The first time was when he worked for my dad in the garage, and underneath the car, an acid dropped in his eye
Oh,
from the battery. And the second time was a hunting accident. He was hunting with Gordy Wagner, and he went across the creek first, and the branch flew that
Aw.
Gordy had touched, and
Yeah.
it flew into his eye, into his glasses, and his own glasses cut the eye out.
my.
But he was well adjusted afterwards. I never could figure out. I asked him, how can you tell a potato from a weed, the plant?
Yeah.
But he could. That's odd.
And what was
Just
it?
said brother.
Elmer Lutzy.
Let's see. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Marie.
Okay.
Dorothy Anderson. We had our first reunion in 1980, and then we had one in 85, 90, 95, and 2000.
Okay.
And now we will have one in 2005.
Oh,
Really?
too long.
Okay.
If
And you went.
everybody lives that long.
And you went to school there also?
Yeah.
And
So did Walter,
okay.
Vernon.
All right. Okay.
That's where you work now, Richard, huh?
Thank you very much, Dorothy.
Richard Wigand, talking about Elmer Lutzy, and I don't know, he was quite a bit older than you,
He
right?
was 13 years older.
13
than
years older than Marie, okay.
But I have a sister in between.
I went to Kenya in the Peace Corps and I came back in 1974 and the Chamber of Commerce in Cleveland invited me to show slides. And I showed slides one evening at the town hall. And the lights were all out and everything like that, and I was explaining, you know, what everything was on these slides, and then, you know, I got finished, and then questions, and turned the lights on, and I really didn't, I knew who Elmer Lutzy was, but not very well, and they were asking a bunch of questions, and they were reasonable questions, and then this guy raises his hand, and the first thing he says is, he said, I hope you realize, he said, I didn't see anything that you showed. I said, why not? You know, I was thinking to myself, this guy sleeping or something or what, you know? And then I realized it was your brother, you know? And he started asking me a whole bunch of questions I thought were the best questions that anybody could ask about any of this stuff. I mean, you really got into it. I was amazed, the guy, you know, for not seeing anything, he was picking up a lot. And I remember seeing him at Stoneberg's funeral home many years later. Was it when his wife died or?
Probably. No.
No.
He died before.
He died before. Okay. Anyways, he was there. Somebody had died, you know, in the relation. And I was walking out and I was talking to somebody, and he came up to me and he introduced himself and he said, "I'm Elmer Lutzy. You're Richard Wigand. I saw, you know, I was at your," and that was only like the second time I met him or something, you know, or that I really talked to him, and he remembered who I was from my voice.
Oh, amazing.
And I was you know, very impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't get nervous.
Don't get nervous now, Kathy. Okay, go right ahead, please.
I'm Kathy Sixel, and I think we have something very important happening this month to one of our group members. And I think we should sing happy birthday to Marie Pipper.
Oh.
She's going to be 90 years old. And what is the date?
The 25th.
The
20
25th of January.
25th of January.
Mine is the 23rd, but we're celebrating the 25th at Wagon Wheel. You know where it is.
Okay. Wonderful. Congratulations. But I guess we've been designated here to come up with a tune here, okay?
Okay. So who's a singer?
Yes.
All right. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marie. Happy birthday to you.
God, let me see how much money I've got.
There we go. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, she still rides her bike.
Still rides her bike yet? Oh, my goodness.
Richard Wigand, it's January 12th, year 2004, the meeting of the Centerville Historical Group, or Greater Centerville Historians, or whatever we are.
That's right.
And tonight we covered, Dorothy Anderson brought a videotape from movies that had been made by her family in the 1920s and 1930s.
Okay.
And I had asked her to bring that along or get it copied because I had seen it at the village hall some years ago and remembered some of the scenes from it, and especially about Vernon Cress.
Right.
Then after that, we shared some memories about Vernon Cress,
Right.
and we talked about butchering on the farm.
Okay.
And what else did we talk about? Various eating. Oh, yeah, the dam, yeah, the Hika dam, some of the German sausages and food and that kind of thing, and a little bit about Marie's older brother Elmer Lutzy, and
Okay.
that's all I can remember.
Very good. And I'll have you introduce yourself again, and this will be the good evening run through this time.
Okay. Richard Wigand, hi.
Thank you. And who do you have here, please?
Dave Cole.
Thank you, Dave. And here we got another gentleman.
Fred Jacoby.
Thank you. And here, please.
Walter Cress.
Thank you.
Florence Chris.
Florence, thank you.
Kathy Wagner.
Thank you, Kathy.
Melvin Yanish.
Thank you, Melvin. Thank you, Marie.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Good.
Edith, let's see.
Thank you, Edith.
Dorothy Anderson.
Thank you, Dorothy. Oop.
Charlie Bauer.
Charlie, thank you. And
Kathy Sixel.
Kathy Sixel, very good. And anything for the next meeting at all? Any information at this time?
Anybody have any suggestions or a topic they would like to cover?
Did we finish all the buildings and things in Cleveland?
No, I suppose we haven't, you know. That will be, we can continue with that. I will try to get Earl Stoltenberg again.
Okay,
I will talk to Earl, and maybe we can get Earl. We'll have to see how he's feeling these days.
okay.
So,
All
see
right.
once if I can get him to come, or Will Baylitz. Those would be two interesting topics. Any other suggestions from the floor?
That would be the second.
Catherine?
Veterans Memorial Park, I think that's such a big part of the village.
Oh,
And it came
okay.
from the town of Centerville to the Cleveland, and I think we should just cover that a little.
Okay.
And I have a wonderful paper article with the
Okay,
whole
you do.
history of
Do
it.
you know a lot about the park?
Well, I have this information.
Okay, okay. We'll put you on for that then, and you can.
And I just think it's a big part of the village.
Yeah,
Veterans
okay.
Memorial Park is a big part of the village.
We'll try. If we
And I
we'll
think
try
it
to
should-
cover that
I
next
think
time.
it should
then.
be a part
Very
of-
good.
That would be
part
the
of our
ninth.
Oh yeah, let me see. The 9th of February is at the second. Yeah, the second Monday.
Okay,
And it'll be. I suppose it'll be here again, unless something changes. Okay.
I think this summer we should plan to do some walks in the village.
Okay.
that'd be
You
good.
know, like Hickory Street, and also in St. Wendel. We should get back to St. Wendel again, because there's also a cemetery walk there, part of the village now. You know, we have a lot of work to do on that side of the village also.
Okay, very good. Okay, then our next meeting, again, one more time, Kathy?
It will be February 9th, 2002 at 6:30 at, I will try for this room.
2004.
Oh, 4.
2002.
The other way. 4.
Okay, well, thank you folks very much, and it was very interesting. You provided a lot of history and backgrounds that we appreciate very much, so we'll see you in February. Thank you again.
Okay, Jerry, one more thing.
Yes. I'll pan back to you, Kathy. Here we go. Go right
I'm
ahead.
Kathy Sixel, and I want to thank Dorothy for bringing the video along. That was
Yes.
very nice of you,
Very
and
nice.
Marie for the pictures, and
Right.
and you, Jerry, for all the work you do. Without you, this wouldn't be very good. Yeah.
I enjoyed it very much,
Thank
believe me.
you.
Thank you.